A blend of new ideas and old ideals, plus stories from growing up on the farm. Now here are co-hosts, Grant Nelson and Dave Nelson, with the Rural Reflections Podcast.
Welcome to the Rural Reflections Podcast. Rural Reflections West is manned by Dave Nelson in Carrington, North Dakota from his brand new 2020 Dodge Studio. And you've got Grant Nelson here for Rural Reflections East in Thief River Falls. Dave, welcome back to the show. How do you like your new studio?
Oh, it's pretty good. I guess it's nicely trimmed, and mileage isn't what I would love it to be, but you know, it's a pickup. It's not a little car, so
that's good. Hey, was that a Christmas present?
No.
How was Christmas for you guys?
Oh, it was good. We had all the kids were here, and all the grandkids were here, and we've gotten to be enough of us where we've started getting a community room at the library for Christmas now.
Good idea.
So the little kids can run and scream and carry on however they want, and there's lots of room, and you know, no big deal for tripping over things and presents and all that. So it's worked out good for us the last couple of years. In our house, when you get 16, 17 people in there, and half of them are little kids, it gets to be tight, you know. So, and we still get together at the house too, but when it's Christmas Eve, we do that at the library community room.
It's a good idea. You know, person can only take so much jolly. And I remember when we used to get together for different things at a community room over at the CNC when Mom was there. I kind of liked that. It was nice. It was roomy. You had a pretty good-sized kitchen there and that sort of thing. It made it a lot more convenient. You know, our Christmas was a pretty small one again, but it was fun. Once the COVID dominoes started going, people just started calling and saying they weren't going to come, and that's the way it went. But Lisa and I had a real nice Christmas Eve, and of course we had quite a bit of jolly in our house too, because we've got 3 cats who can be pretty active sometimes. So it was actually a real nice Christmas. Tell us a little bit about how things are going out there as far as weather. Over here, we've had, you know, a couple inches of snow and a lot of wind, but really not much else. How about over in Carrington?
Well, we have a snow event every week, you know.
Yeah.
It seems like, and it's now, you know, sometimes the snow event comes every weekend, but the weekends seem to kind of clear out, but during the week, seems like we get a storm every week, and it's piling up here, that's for sure.
You know, we were talking before we got on the air today that the walk-behind snowblower, while wonderful, is not actually free of work. I mean, you know, sometimes reverse just isn't fast enough. You got to hit the clutches and just pull it back. And other times, as you get into deeper snow, sometimes you got to give it a little horsepower yourself. And with some of the drifts we had this time around, some of them were pretty hard around here, Dave. I mean, I have one drift I think that's going to be there till April. How about out there? Was it like that where you get those concrete drifts?
Yeah, I don't remember when it was not the last blow, or maybe it was the last blow. I can't remember, but anyway. That one really pulverized the snow and made it hard as a rock. And we have got snow piled all over around town. My yard, you can't really look out the front window onto the street anymore because there's snow piled and stuff. Okay. And it's a for-real winter, that's for sure.
Yeah. How about at work at High Plains Equipment? How have things been there? Are you getting equipment in? Are you busy? Are you doing lots of service packages? Or?
Well, we're doing all kinds of service work. It's very busy that way. Machinery, we're getting some. We're probably not getting, you know, all of what we want, but it's not too bad. So we'll probably be okay for this year. But it's going to be there's going to be some shortage for sure.
How about on parts? I'm curious about that.
Slow arriving, but we're getting most of the stuff. We're set up for they call it dealer to dealer.
Okay.
So if the company doesn't have it and the dealership doesn't have it, and when we place an order, if another dealer has it and they're willing to pick up on it and share parts with us, Case has got it set up so they air freight it back to the depot, and then the depot out to us on regular order status. So it adds one day to the time that it takes, but at least we're getting stuff. If it's difficult to get it comes from another dealer oftentimes, and it's working. I know a lot of our customers were proactive and ordered their tillage and planting parts at harvest time. And most of them have now got their tillage parts for spring and stuff, so they'll be doing fine. So we're going to manage. Not going to be like we like it. We're going to be short some units. There's some orders that get canceled and so on. But I think we'll manage another year. I'm not so sure what to say about the next year because, what happened is the supply chain had some stuff in it yet. So we used that up last year, and it's so slow filling back up that that's where the issues with getting stuff is coming from.
So at a time of the year when usually everybody's thinking about farm shows and maybe starting to look a little bit at equipment and think about getting it ready for spring, there's probably a little bit more anxiety, at least looking forward a year from now. But for coming up for this spring, probably be okay.
Yeah, probably. It's some of the oddest things that you can't get. We broke a return spring for one of our garage or our overhead doors.
Yep.
Impossible to get anywhere. We scoured everywhere. The companies won't even take orders for them because they don't know when they're going to get the material that they need for it. And luckily, one of our guys had been out at a farm, and the farmer had all his garage doors changed last year. And he had it all laying there in a pile, the old stuff yet.
Wow.
And he saw the springs there. And I called the guy, and we measured them, and sure enough, he had the same size of spring on his door. So I was able to get a used spring so we can keep on doing what we do. But it's really, really sketchy on things like that. Just the odd thing or two that you come across that, they can't get that, or nobody's taking orders, nobody's doing any of that,
One new position for most places, maybe it'll be picker in the future. Somebody who's always looking for something, scrap pile or something like that, grab things that you can use at the business. Let's take a quick break, Dave, and we'll be back right after this on the Rural Reflections Podcast. Welcome back to the Rural Reflections Podcast. Dave Nelson over in Carrington, Grant Nelson here in Thief River Falls. Dave, this time of the year is a good time to do some shop work. You got anything going on that way?
Well, nothing personally, but all kinds of stuff at our shop. I mean, there's combines and people have stuff lined up waiting for us just to get out and pick it up and bring it in. So lots of stuff going on there. Mary is busy at the house. She's working at her mom's house, cleaning and stuff like that. And she's always doing something at our house too. As far as any big remodeling projects or anything, I guess we put new flooring throughout the lower level of the house this year. So kind of done with that now.
Staying busy.
Just kind of trying to keep up with the snow in the wintertime and keep the flow of stuff going at our shop.
Yeah, that works. Now at home, this my project this year, a cupola. I did a cupola for one shop. I don't know, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. Horridly overbuilt. I mean, it strained the crane putting it up on top of the shed. So I learned from that. Tried to do a little more engineering, and not just more wood to make sure it was strong. Now this year. This is a pretty good sized cupola. It's actually more like a second story to the building I'm putting it on, but it's 5 feet deep, 10 feet wide, and I'm going to say at the peak it's going to be about 8 feet at the peak of the roof. But I'm doing it in 3 sections. So I've got the first section done. What I did is I just got up on the roof, or got as close to the roof as I could, and then I put 2 boards on there, got the angle, screwed the boards together, and I transferred that angle onto my 2x4s, and I got my base done. And this morning I actually finished up the first piece, or the first portion of the cupola with steel, and it's ready to go. Actually, it's just ready to go to another shop and just sit until this spring when we can put it up. And then the second section, I've already framed it out. It'll just be to put steel on. And then the top section, of course, will be the funnest because that's the roof. And I think I might do some things up there, like maybe a little gingerbread fretwork up there, maybe some lights, something like that. I'm not quite really sure if I want to put a window in it and put a light bulb inside the cupola or something on the outside. I'm leaning towards the outside because the problem with that, of course, is if you put it inside, when it goes out, you got to get up there somehow and change it. And I don't know how I do that. That would have to be a job that I hired out, Dave.
How much space do you have up there?
Space enough, I suppose, to stand up, really. I mean, yeah, it would be like, you know what I'd say? I would say it'd be like one of those small ice houses that they use for fishing.
There's somebody in Thief River that has a 450 International pedal tractor that they want to sell. And it's all redone, and it's really expensive. But the person had an old pedal tractor to put up in there, and it was, lit up, and there's windows on it. It'd be kind of fun to see a little tractor up in there.
Oh, that would be absolutely fantastic. Either behind a window and of course now I realize if it's a nice little toy pedal tractor, probably too nice for this, but put it on top of the roof. Can you imagine that?
Oh yeah, that would be
that up?
Better. That would be cool.
No, there's all kinds of things.
Well, you can get some that aren't necessarily 100% redone and just put a quick coat of paint on it too. It looks good from a distance.
Boy, now you got me thinking. Now you really got me thinking. I got another project coming up this summer too. Now you and I had talked about this lightly, but I'm about 85% of the way there. I think we're going to put up solar panels this year at our place. Now, there's people on both sides, is it a good idea? Isn't it? Is it? I've thought about it for years and years and years, and I've been close to it before, close to going ahead with the project, but I think I'm going to do it this year. And funny enough, the thing that really I find interesting about it is so much of the cost, of course, is labor, but a lot of it is in the framing. And people are starting to use old oil-filled pipe for framing instead. Now, it's got to be special. It's got to be, I guess, demagnetized. You can't have magnetized pipe, but that's there to be had. And a lot of people are using that now instead of the production framing, and it makes the cost really night and day. That combined with doing your own labor makes a huge difference. So I know you guys got your construction project out there with High Plains framing and whatnot, that I'm going to do the same thing this summer, Dave.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of angles you can look at it from. The one I always thought was the coolest was in shop class when we built solar panels, just heating panels,
Okay.
And they were, you took fluorescent tubes and cleaned them all out and painted them black and then mounted them into a 2x6 or something and just let the sun heat on them and put a little fan in there, and it was supplemental heat for a house and that. they were big and bulky and ugly and didn't last long. But if somebody had really tuned on that and made that, a lot easier to use and so on, I'm sure there'd be plenty of applications for that today.
I'm sure.
And with electricity now the way it is, with everybody wants to go green, so to speak. But it's not. They can't all be green. But it's anyway. That's, I'm sure, a big help towards that too. Got to look at batteries and what the long-term payback is on it. How much the batteries cost and all that too. But it's got to be worth a try, and it'd be really nice on a farm, to know you had some kind of supplemental electricity if your power went out.
Yeah, this will be a grid tie system, so there won't be any batteries involved in this. This will be just basically, for lack of a better way of explaining it, it'll spin the meter backwards when I am producing more power than I'm using, and of course it is banked. Say, middle of summer, you're making all kinds of electricity and you're not using it. That gets banked, and then you can either get a check every quarter, I believe it is, or you just have it, you have it in your account. And I think one thing we've talked about is then maybe putting in an electric plenum heater to use up some of the electricity during the winter instead of going with propane. So there's a lot of different angles to think about, and of course a lot of paperwork to do before we really get anything going through the lines too. So that'll be a whole separate project unto itself, but we'll keep you up to date on it when it comes this summer, okay?
Yeah, it'll be fun to look at.
Yeah. Got anything else for us this week, Dave?
Oh, I guess not really, but we're just going to stay out here and hope the weather eventually changes to spring, and we've seen a lot of winter already, so it isn't that far off to spring anymore.
No, it really isn't. I'll look forward to it, and I'll look forward to our next visit. Dave, you have a great day, and tell everybody hello.
See you, Grant.
All right. See you later. There he is, my brother, Dave Nelson. He's Rural Reflections West. I'm Rural Reflections East, and this is the Rural Reflections Podcast.